Have you ever loved someone so deeply, only to feel them slip away day by moment? Have you ever smiled through tears, hiding your heartbreak so your children wouldn't see? This is the story of Clara, a devoted wife and mother, whose world falls apart, not in an instant, but slowly, painfully, until she's left with nothing but strength she didn't know she had. Today, you won't just learn English, you'll feel it. Let's begin. My name is Clara. I'm 36 years old. I live in a small town in England. I have two beautiful daughters, and I had a husband named Henry. Henry is 50, calm, charming, and for many years my safe place. We've been married for 15 years. Our eldest, Olivia, is 13. Our little one, Amelia, is just 3. We lived a quiet life. Henry worked at a law firm. I stayed home with the girls, cooking, cleaning, reading bedtime stories. We didn't have much money, but we had love. Or so I thought. It's funny how the ordinary moments, dinner at the table, laughter in the hallway, bedtime stories, can hide so much pain underneath. But pain always finds its way out. One rainy afternoon, I noticed Henry was smiling at his phone. Not once, but every night. His texts, secretive. His calls, too quiet. "Who's that?" I asked casually. He paused. "Just work," he replied. But his eyes didn't match his words. I wanted to trust him. But my heart whispered, something's wrong. That night, I lay in bed wide awake. He was next to me, but so far away. The next day, I checked his phone. My hands were shaking. There it was. A name I didn't know. A message I couldn't unsee. "Last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you." My world shattered. I put the phone down. My breath caught in my throat. I stared at the ceiling and whispered, "No, this can't be happening." But it was. "Henry," I said, holding back tears, "are you seeing someone else?" He didn't even flinch. "You're imagining things," he said coldly. But I wasn't. I saw it with my own eyes. Days passed. He became distant, cold, unreachable. So I called the number. A woman answered. Her voice was soft, confident. "Yes," she said. "I'm with Henry. It's not my fault if you can't keep your man." My knees gave out. I sank to the floor. He came home and found me crying. "What now?" he snapped. "I know," I whispered. "I know everything." He didn't deny it. "I'll stop when I want." "Not when you tell me," he growled. That night, Olivia heard us. She cried herself to sleep. Amelia, too young to understand, clung to me. That evening, I looked at myself in the mirror and didn't recognize the woman staring back. Hollow eyes, trembling hands, a broken heart. We had a loan on our apartment. In my name, but we paid it together. I couldn't go back to work yet. Amelia still needed me. Henry knew this. He used it. He would say things like, "You need me, so stop complaining." He stopped coming home some nights. He said he was working. But I knew better. I waited up for him every single night. He came home smelling like perfume, lipstick on his collar. Credit card bills showed dinners at fancy restaurants. I asked, "Henry, where is the money going?" "Mind your own business." But it was my business. Our daughters needed that money. The silence in our home was deafening. The walls knew our pain. The kitchen, once filled with laughter, now echoed with sadness. I started losing weight, not because I wanted to, but because I simply forgot to eat. The stress made me ill. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. My hair began to fall out. The doctor said, "Clara, your body is shutting down. You need rest." But how could I rest when my world was falling apart? Olivia stopped talking to her friends. She stayed in her room. She was ashamed of her father. Amelia cried when Henry didn't come home. She waited by the door with her tiny shoes on. My best friend Sophie said, "Clara, leave him." But how? I had no income, no plan, no hope. My family said, "Be strong, maybe he'll come back." But hope is a heavy thing when you carry it alone. One night, Henry didn't come home again. I stared at the clock until sunrise. He walked in, eyes tired, and said, "You're still up? You need help?" I whispered, "No, Henry, you need help." But he was already walking away. One evening, I cooked his favorite dinner. I set the table. I lit candles. When he walked in, he didn't smile. "We need to talk," he said. My hands trembled. "I don't love you anymore." Just like that, I wanted to scream, to ask why, to beg. But I didn't. "So, what now?" "I'm leaving." He packed a suitcase, took his clothes, his books, even the watch I gave him on our anniversary. He hugged Olivia, kissed Amelia. "I'm sorry," he said. The only time he cried. Then he left. And the silence that followed was louder than any scream. I sat there, cold, alone, empty. I sat in the dark, crying until my body ached. The next morning, I reached for his side of the bed. Empty. I pretended for the girls. I smiled. I made breakfast, but inside I was empty. One afternoon, I walked past a cafe, and there he was, with her. She was stunning. He was laughing. He looked happy. He looked up. Our eyes met. And in that second, I felt every kind of pain. I turned. I walked away. I didn't cry in the street. But when I got home, I locked the door, sat on the floor, and let it out. That night, I looked at my daughters sleeping and realized something. They need me, not my pain. That night, I did something small, most insane, but brave. I took off my wedding ring. The next morning, I made a full breakfast. Sat with the girls. We laughed a little. I didn't cry that day. I began writing in a journal, a place for my pain. I made a CV. I applied for jobs. I talked to a lawyer. I talked to other mums. I wasn't alone. Weeks passed, then months. Pain became dull. My strength, louder. I got a part-time job at the library. Olivia started smiling again. Amelia began nursery. We were healing, one step at a time. Some nights the sadness still came, but I learned. Pain doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're alive. I started seeing myself not as a victim, but a survivor. In the Bible, there's a verse in Psalm 147:3. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. That verse carried me on days when I felt too tired to walk. And slowly, I found joy again. Not from someone else, but within. I started reading again, dancing with Amelia, talking with Olivia, watching sunsets, drinking tea by the window without crying. This was my life now. Not what I planned, but what I chose. So, dear listener, if you're hurting right now, if someone you love has broken your heart, know this: you are not alone. You are stronger than you think. And this pain, it won't last forever. Today you may feel broken, but tomorrow you will rise. And one day, you'll look in the mirror and say, "I survived. I healed. I'm free." If this story touched your heart and helped you learn English in a real, emotional way, like this video, share it with someone who needs hope. Subscribe for more powerful stories that teach and heal. Thank you for listening. Until next time, keep learning and keep growing. Fade out with gentle piano music.